Welcome back to Bravo Breaking News with Kim and Lisa. The lies are coming out on this week's OC, and once again, Shannon Storms Bedore is vindicated.
Yes, Tamara is calling her out, but the text messages are being exposed. And I'm sorry, but Shannon's bringing the receipts, proof, timeline screenshots. Heather's getting into the middle of it all. I don't know. I've got my extensions on, as you can see, and we're just ready to dive in.
Not the weave. I will be pulling your weave, Lisa. You look amazing. And
literally,
it's kind of like a celebration every week to get on here. So why not get dressed up? And let's dive into it all because there is so much to discuss. But before we do, make sure you guys are subscribed so you don't miss any more Bravo Breaking News. Guys, there is so much more to come on OC. So let's get into it.
Okay. So we start off with this group mammogram field trip, which I love. I think this is such a great idea. I myself will have to be getting a mammogram this year. And it's like, why not make a fun day out of it, and go with some friends and do like a little buddy check. So Alexis replied back to Shannon, and Shannon is, oh my God, she's sharing this with the rest of the girls. And I literally wanted to throw the remote when I saw what Alexis texted her. She said, since you are taking all your friends on this trip to London, I'm sure you can scrounge up a lousy $75K for my future husband to pay him back. Shannon said it best, #delusional. That is not the point. Shannon already offered to pay your future husband back. It's just, where does she get off?
How many times do we have to say, Tamara brings it up later that Shannon doesn't have the money to pay John off. She shouldn't be giving everybody Burberry scarves. How many times do we have to say that Shannon has offered to pay the full amount? I don't understand how many times we have to say it for this to drill into these women's head. And then second of all, Shannon is not paying for this trip. Let's be real. Bravo is paying for it. Alexis knows this. So this isn't even a good comeback. Once again, Alexis is proving how not super smart she is. And she thinks that this is such a dig and a comeback. No, sorry. There's really nothing to this whatsoever.
No, that's what I was thinking. Alexis has been around the block. She knows how this works. Shannon is not herself funding this entire trip to London for 7 people.
Nope.
That's just, find a different angle because that one doesn't work. Maybe it's John texting.
Oh my gosh. Don't even get me started. And side note, last night there was an Us Weekly reality TV event in LA. And guess who walked the red carpet? John Jansen and Alexis Bellino. If I see another red carpet photo of this couple, I'm going to lose it. So I've had it up to here.
Did people throw tomatoes at them? Did they get booed? Did anyone even want a picture? Because if I was a photographer or a journalist on that carpet and I'd be taking everyone's photos, trying to talk to everyone, and then they walked by, I would simply just put my hands down and be like, I'm good.
I would be right there with you. I know a lot of other Bravo creators, or a few others were there, Real Moms of Bravo, Ryan Bailey. So if you guys were there and were watching or we're on the carpet, please give us the tea because I want to know. Okay, but back to the matter at hand. So we're getting the group mammograms. I also love this. When I turn 40, I hope to have a girl group around me that will come with me because I have anxiety. I would have super major anxiety over this. I think a lot of the women do. Jen had a lump. Turns out it's not cancer, thankfully. But Heather, even though she is, her kind of scan comes back clear, I guess she does have a higher chance of contracting this due to family history, as well as some dense tissue that she has in her breasts. I don't know. But, she is a little kind of wary and scary after hearing this news. And
41 that's sizable.
Yes, the 39% risk factor. That's very scary. And we get out of the room. Everybody's celebrating, and she's kind of quiet, and nobody is really asking how hers went. I think they're just assuming that it was okay. I definitely feel for her in this moment. Like, she internally, I'm sure she's freaking out, and she doesn't just want to like come out and say it. But I definitely felt for Heather in this moment.
No, I did too. I mean, listen, sometimes she definitely is a little too sensitive, but I think in this moment, like I put myself in her shoes and I was like, that would feel shitty. You kind of organize this. You're inviting your friends to make sure they're okay. You know, you're going into Gina's room and, you know, holding her hand as she gets her ultrasound, but it seems like no one's really reciprocating. And I don't think they did it on purpose. I think it was just, you know, they kind of got caught up in the moment, but I can definitely see how that would hurt her feelings. And especially if she did hear something kind of scary.
Totally. And we are going to discuss it all in London. But yeah, so, you know, we get a packing montage, love a packing montage, and we get like a few like fun moments as the ladies are ready to, you know, go drink tea in London.
My God. The accents, Kim, they just kept getting worse and worse. And the producer was like, you know what? I think we're good here.
I think mine is a little bit better than Gina's. What about you? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, see, my problem is I've been doing a bit of an Australian accent lately because my
that is very Australian.
My daughter's been watching a lot of Bluey, and so I can just slip into the Australian accent, but I am now confused on what's British and what's Australian. So I don't even know, guys. Don't
Aussie accent. Wow, we've got an actress in our midst. Oh my gosh.
Whoever needs voiceover work, call me. So they're packing. Kim, I just have to ask you, you know, you've been on this earth for some decades now. Did you know that England was an island?
You know, embarrassingly, I've been there, and I'm not sure that I did. It's very
maybe it's a more common problem than I realized.
Geography is not my strong suit. It never has been. You know, I'm a writer. I'm more of like an English kind of, you know, as far as school subjects. But yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm with Katie on this one.
Don't give me a geography quiz because I will fail. I once told my husband that Portugal was in Africa, and he just blank stared and then started laughing at me. And then I doubled down and was like, no, you're in the wrong here. But anyway, just England being an island, like I guess I overlooked that as being maybe not common knowledge. I don't know. Listen, we're all just a bunch of dum-dums out of here trying to get by. But I thought it was pretty funny when Katie and her daughter were talking about that. And then, okay, yeah, I'm going to need Shannon to leave the top of the morning home because we had to hear it no less than 7,565 times last season when they went to Ireland. And I can't do it anymore. I can't do it.
She like goes to say it and then she stops herself. She's like, top of the morning. Do they say top of the morning?
No, like, they don't.
Oh, God, I love it. I love Shannon so much. So we arrive in London town. I'm so excited. So are the ladies. Shannon Beador arrives as the Duchess of Corona del Mar, and I just love that title. You know, like Grand Dame who? We've got the Duchess of CDM right here. And they're staying at a lovely hotel. You know, of course, this is when Shannon passed out the gifts. And like I said, Tamara calls her out for giving everybody a Burberry scarf. Why are you giving everybody expensive gifts when you haven't paid John his $75,000? Like, bitch, zip it. You like at least know the facts before you're speaking. She already offered him the full amount. Do I have to say it again? No.
And then Heather went on and kind of said the same thing, not so, you know, in a different way, but she was like, keep the Burberry scarf, like put it towards the John Jansen fund. And I'm like, one, I get it. Heather probably has a closet full of Burberry, Chanel scarves, whatever. And she's like, I don't need it. But it's just rude. Like, just take the gift and say thank you. And I don't know. I just think it's so gross. It's gross.
It's gross. I mean, Tamara's going to find any little excuse to call Shannon out. And this is just another example. But we kind of get into, we learn a lot more details about this whole loan versus not loan. And of course, just like on Salt Lake City, who's in the center of it all? Jeff
Lewis. Jeff is really becoming pivotal characters in multiple franchises. So
sure is.
Shannon and Jeff have been friends for a long time. Like, I think he was even at her vow renewal with David, long ago. And so she goes on his show. They're talking about the lawsuit situation. And Jeff makes a comment saying, Shannon made a comment about like, oh, I asked John and I were talking about money, and he said, it's too bad you can't get a low interest loan. And she said, well, you have money. And so he gave her the money. And so Tamara and Heather are now taking that comment and running with it and being like, so it was a loan. And it's like, well, no, I don't see how you're making that jump, like, and just it's black and white like that. I don't think it is. But they're like pouncing on her because she went on this Jeff Lewis interview, which I do think she probably shouldn't be talking about any of it because it just won't help her case. Like, the more you say, the more problematic it's going to be, the more problems it's going to cause for you. But then they're also saying that Jeff asked her, do you really think that John didn't hear the accident? And Shannon says, Jeff, I never really thought about that. And they're saying, lies. Khloe Kardashian screaming into the phone. And I guess it's a lie, but like, it's not like a big smoking gun. We get to the smoking gun later when Shannon finds a text message from Alexis Bellino circa 2018. But this is not a smoking gun. And they're saying that Shannon's emotionally manipulating them and, painting John out to be the bad guy. And it's like, I don't see how they're making this leap.
I don't see it either. And I need the receipts proof timeline. I need the timeline of this because did she record Jeff Lewis before she sat down with Heather and showed her the picture and broke down, or after? Because if it was before and Jeff asked her this question and she's like, oh, I didn't really think about it, and then started to like think more about it and like look back on her texts, maybe she came to this realization later and then like kind of went to Heather with it. If it was after, I have a feeling that she probably just didn't want to get into the nitty gritty details on air
on the show. Yeah.
Yeah. And she felt safer doing so with Heather. And
granted there were cameras there, but okay.
Yes, I know. It's not like black and white, but I agree with you. This is not the smoking gun that they're saying at all. I mean, Heather makes such a big deal about it at dinner, which we'll get to, but like, come on, like find a different, I think there are other things that we learn, promissory note, that are a little bit more damaging to Shannon's story than this, oh, I never really thought about that. Like, that to me does not mean lie whatsoever.
No, I agree. I think they're holding her to a really high standard, and it's basically like she's on the witness stand every second of every day, because the second she kind of says something slightly different or just, that doesn't quite match up with exactly what she said before, they're like, that's another lie.
I know, like,
Jesus Christ.
Stop, like, chill. So we'll get to the dinner party from hell. But first we get this like fun little boat ride. You say boat ride, you think it's going to be like, oh, a nice cruise with champagne and stuff. Nope. Shannon has chosen like the adventure ride of London, where they're speeding through the, what is it? The Thames?
The Thames.
Thames. I don't know how to say it. I whoever was trying to say it, I think it was Tamara. I'm with her. Don't know how to say it. But they kind of have a moment of fun. Shannon's tracks start falling out. And I don't know.
Don't take the extensions on that boat ride. They'd be
Would you, what would you prefer? What would you prefer? This crazy rocket boat ride or like a more serene cruise, sunset cruise on the river with a glass of wine?
I think there's a time and place for both of them, but I'm Emily in this situation. I think it's fun. I have a little bit of like adrenaline junkie in me, so I want to go fast. Like, let's do it. And then you see the opposite end of the spectrum. Heather's just like, this is not fun at all. I want it to stop. So I'm more Emily in that situation. What are you? Or who are you?
Yeah, no, there's plenty of, times where you can just sit and, enjoy a view. But like, I like that there was like a little bit of adventure and,
Yeah.
I like taking these women out of their comfort zones a bit.
Exactly.
They were definitely there and kind of seeing how they react, kind of like a la Salt Lake City with the kind of ropes course. You get to see these women in a different environment and how they act to things. And if they participate, I think it's kind of fun to watch.
Totally. Okay, so we get to dinner and Katie is getting her glam done in the hotel room. I want to know, are these glam teams being traveled out with them, or is this a glam team she found in London? Because I feel like that does make a huge difference when people start judging and saying, oh, she had her glam come with her. Maybe she just hired someone locally. Sure. But Jen is also getting her glam done. And once again, it's being talked about. I think Gina said to Emily, why is Jen getting her glam done when she's, having financial problems? And I get it. And I think the same thing. But at a certain point, like, you're not going to change her. She's going to do what she's going to do. And I don't think you need to harp on someone's financial decisions.
I agree. But to me, I don't know. It almost seemed like she was just like piggybacking off of Katie's glam. Like maybe They were like splitting it, or like maybe Katie was like, hey, go ahead and get your makeup done too. Like, I don't know. Yeah. They're besties. They've gotten really close. I think that during filming, they are, kind of like are leaning on each other a lot. So I don't know. I'm going to give Jen the benefit of the doubt on this one.
Okay, so they start talking about the mammograms. I think Heather primed Tamara for this conversation because
it was so out of the blue.
Tamara brings it up out of nowhere. Oh, you guys all went and got mammograms, right? How did everyone's mammogram go? Oh, Heather, I didn't hear about yours. And then Heather takes that opportunity to, express her feelings. And she says, well, no one asked me. And that was really hurtful because I actually heard that I have about a 40% chance of getting breast cancer. And not one of you guys even asked, how mine went. And so, I'm with Heather on this one, like I said, but it just kind of opens the conversation up. And I think this is just kind of one of Heather's grievances that she wants to share at this dinner.
Well, and everybody is like everybody goes silent. They're stunned. They're shocked. They realize their mistake.
Right.
They're very, very apologetic about it. They realize that they didn't ask and they should have been there. And Heather breaks down. And I agree. I would feel how Heather, was. But I think, like we said before, nobody did this on purpose. It's not like they don't care about her. They were all together. And I think they just kind of, I don't know, they said that they heard her cheering, but then they were cheering for Gina and not Heather. So, it's, I think it was just a misunderstanding and a lack of understanding as to what was really going on. So yeah, I feel for Heather, but I hope that she doesn't like latch on to this because I don't think that there was any. Oh,
I don't think she's going to latch on, but it sounds like Gina's going to latch on because now Gina is saying, oh, why didn't she tell me this right after? Why did she wait until now we're in London? She's bringing this up. Isn't that hypocritical? Because she called me out for not telling her about Katie immediately after. And it's like, Gina, you're trying to connect these dots. It's not working and it's not worth it. Like, this is not a battle that's worth fighting.
This is not the same. These cannot be compared. This is not the same situation. Like, don't try to make it the same. It's not the same. So I really hope that Gina doesn't run with this, because this is just something that just let sleeping dogs lie. She just had her feelings hurt. She's not like coming after you.
Totally. Now,
so
what do you think about, what do you think about Heather getting kind of shady in these confessional moments? Because they hear about Katie going to Korea, right, to meet her birth mom, and she kind of shares the story. And then Heather, like, she's just been real shady lately.
This is where I did a 180. I feel bad for Heather, and then like, whoop, like all of a sudden I'm like, whoa, what was that? Like she says these things that kind of just like shock me. Like Katie is sharing about her birth mother, that she's going to meet her. And her and Heather are like kind of connecting over this. And Heather is really like asking her questions, like very interested. And then we cut to confessional and she goes, Katie's history is interesting. Too bad she's not. Like, what? Where the hell did that come from? And it almost, I don't know. It almost seems like it could be editing, because is she saying that in the same sentence? I need to like look at the cut a little more clearer, because editing can do a lot of crazy things. And it just doesn't seem like that should be in the same sentence. How is Katie's history interesting, but she's not? Like, that doesn't even really make sense.
I think she just means she's not an interesting person to hang out with, because when they showed them getting to the airport and she says, the early bird gets the worm. In my case, the early bird got Katie. And they just are standing there awkwardly because they have nothing to say to each other. I think Katie's probably fucking scared of Heather, because the second she says something, Heather, takes it the wrong way and punishes her. But I just think that was so rude and unnecessary. And I think maybe she's trying to get these like pull quote moments, get these, trailer worthy moments in her confessionals. But it's not sitting right with me for Heather. Like, I feel like that's just not her personality, but she's trying to make it her personality. I don't know.
And then she's going after Shannon. So conversation shifts. Tamra, of course, is going to bring up the lawsuit. And she's like, so what's the update with the lawsuit? It's like every time they get together, Shannon or Tamra has to bring this up because she has nothing else to talk about. So obviously she's going to talk about it. A la Lisa Rinna, you better believe I'm going to talk about it. I guess I'm kind of glad she brings it up in this case, because we do learn something new and very interesting.
Yeah. So Shannon says, look, my attorney said that I'm allowed to, go to the press or whatever, go on Jeff Lewis and debunk these things that are being said about me, these lies. And then she mentions a promissory note. Okay, now here's where it gets a little murky, Shannon. She says after he gave her the $75,000, like maybe a few days after, he sent her this promissory note. And everyone's like, what? That's new information. Okay, I don't know what that exactly means. Does a promissory note indicate?
But I just looked it up.
Alone? Okay, please educate.
I had to look it up. I meant to look it up before, but I'm looking it up right now. Google says a promissory note is a legally binding contract that's used to document a loan agreement between a lender and a borrower. It's a key part of many financial transactions, including mortgages, personal loans, and business transactions. So it is like basically exactly what you think it is. And why are we just now hearing about this? This is very pivotal information. And Shannon has been saying time and time again that she never thought that she needed to pay this money back to John.
Right.
That it was a gift.
Yeah.
So where was this information before?
I don't know. This is kind of not great for her case. But did she ever sign the promissory note? Did he ever sign the promissory note? Was it notarized? I don't know. Did they discuss it, or did he just send it to her and expect her to sign it? Like, did they talk about this being a loan, or did he give her the money and then was like, by the way, this is a loan? Because that's also fucked up. Like, you got to make your you have to set the expectations clear at the front. So I don't know, but this is kind of a new revelation, and everyone's going to run with it.
Yeah, I mean, lie count 1. Then they try to get a number 2 because Heather goes after her about Jeff Lewis, and basically says that she felt used by Shannon because she sat down with her and told her about how she thought that John Jansen heard the crash and didn't come after her, and then didn't say that on Jeff Lewis. How does Heather feel used in this situation, and why is she making this all about her? I agreed with Shannon in this moment because this is such a stretch. Like, why is Heather like, she's like, I feel so betrayed. You sat down with me and used me to get this information out. Like, how does, it's not, the math isn't mathing here.
I don't know. Heather must be really flexible because this is definitely a stretch. I'm with you. And as she was talking, I was really trying to pay attention and trying to follow her line of logic as to how she felt used. And I just couldn't. So I don't know. You guys let us know. Is Heather valid in feeling like Shannon used her in this way? I mean, I don't think so, but we all hear things differently.
And then Shannon explains she was my friend. I was going to her in a moment of need. Remember, this was when I think Shannon found out some really devastating news right before dinner. She goes to Heather saying that she's not going to be able to come to dinner and kind of, talking it through with her. She was just kind of leaning on a friend, and I totally get it. And this pile on, Shannon can't take it anymore. So she's going to do what she does best.
Yeah. Well, first of all, Tamara's going to do what Tamara does best, which is start yelling names and, saying, you can't be a victim, Shannon. You are not the victim in this situation. Who is the victim? Is there a victim? I don't know. But Shannon does not like that. She storms out. She's talking to them while she's waiting for the elevator through prison bars. And, she heads to the bar. She doesn't go to her room. I have a feeling that was production saying, you know what, why don't you just go over here? We're going to send someone after you to talk to you. But I don't like that she ordered a drink in the moment. So Gina goes after her and, Shannon just says, I'm going home. I'm going home. I don't need this. I don't need to be here. This is enough. I can only do so much. If they want to think this way, then go on and let them. But why? I want to know, honestly, why is Tamara riding so hard for Alexis? What does Alexis have on her? Is it just that she wants to see Shannon taken down so badly? I just don't get it.
I think that this was, Tamara thinks that Shannon orchestrated all of this. I think that Tamara has orchestrated all of this going into the season with her main mission being to take down Shannon. She thought that the viewers were not going to be on Shannon's side with the DUI, with all the drama. She was kind of going to be the person we were targeting all season and not support, she's still drinking, all this stuff. I think that she thought that the fans were not going to be on Shannon's side. And we are on Shannon's side, and Tamara, she can't really backtrack now, so she's continuing to double down and try to call Shannon out for whatever she can and just continue to be on the wrong side of history.
Yeah, and listen, we get it. Shannon is not perfect. She is not handling everything perfectly, and there certainly are some fibs coming out. But overwhelmingly, it looks like she is a woman who is down bad. And for Tamara, Alexis, John to keep beating her down when she's trying to get back up, is just a bad look. So we're going to rally for the person who needs it the most, and that's Shannon.
100%. And then we get more vindication, gotcha, Alexis, gotcha. We've been waiting for this all fucking season. And so, of course, Shannon sent that text to Alexis disinviting her. What comes up when she enters Alexis's number is an old text from 2018 from Alexis that reads, I'm going to pull it up so we can read the entire thing.
Such a good moment. Such a good moment.
Shannon, everything you and Tamra have said in the media since the divorce are lies. We, highlighted, have engaged an attorney and will be suing you and Tamra for slander and defamation. Your insensitive and false allegations come at a very difficult time for our family. And then, sorry, it cuts off on my screenshot, but we get the gist.
Yeah. So Alexis was involved in the original lawsuit against Shannon and Tamra, and she was claiming, with everything that she had nothing to do with it. It was all Jim Bellino. They had already been, separated, divorced, whatever. And you can't be mad at me for that because I had nothing to do with it. This says otherwise.
And I have a theory, because when Alexis received the text message from Shannon when Jen and Katie were at her house, Alexis had to have seen this pop up as well. If Shannon saw it pop up in their text history, Alexis might have too. And I think this is my theory why Alexis kind of lost it, over, not being invited on the trip. But she really saw this old text come up and was like, holy shit, I've been caught. This old text pretty much goes back on everything that I've said. So I think that it might have caught Alexis in the moment too. And that may be why she reacted the way she did when this other text came through.
And kicked out Jen and Katie. But here's what I don't understand is when Shannon found it, she sent it to Tamra, and Tamra said, oh my God, I remember this, but Alexis didn't send it to me because she didn't have my phone number at the time. Okay. But then Tamra is still riding hard for Alexis in London. So does that just not change anything for you, Tamra?
And she's saying that she remembers, but has been over and over saying that Alexis wasn't involved. Alexis wasn't involved. She's said that multiple times. So get your story straight. I don't know.
Yeah.
The lies. There are lies coming out of every single person's mouth, Shannon included. Now, I love Shannon, but, she's lying by omission at this point. There is information that's coming out. I'm not giving John Jansen any credit whatsoever, but I don't know. I mean, where's the truth? Where's the truth here?
Okay, so this kind of wraps up this episode, but did you see Shannon on Watch What Happens Live?
I sure did.
Okay, and so Angie, of course, asks about the status of the lawsuit. And Shannon says, look, I just heard from my lawyer. And she starts getting emotional, and she's like, John has agreed to take the $75,000 that I offered, but I also have to issue a public statement saying what a generous man he is. I'm sorry. If someone's holding a gun to your head and saying you have to say this, does that make it believable? What is his thinking here?
John, it's too late. It's too late. We already know who you are. Just silence yourself and we will forget about you and move on. If Shannon,
makes it worse and worse.
He keeps making it worse. If Shannon were to come out and all of a sudden be like, John Jansen is such a generous man, we would 100% of people who read that statement would see right through it. We would know exactly what's happening because he's been trying to do it. And I love Shannon for telling us this and not giving in. As much as I wish for her to be through this, good on her for standing up for herself and not giving in to this man's ridiculous requests.
I know, but at this point, I am just fine, fucking pay him. Say what you want. Say what he wants you to say. We're all going to know it's a lie anyway. But just to make him go away, I don't know. I am so torn because I would want to dig my heels in too and be like, I am not fucking saying that. That is ridiculous. and you're not a generous man. You're not a good guy. But I just, at this point, like, just go away. And we're all going to know that you were forced to say that.
Oh, 100%. I see your point. Maybe that is a good route for Shannon to take. Oh, I don't know. But this was a juicy episode. I am loving the text messages. I love a screenshot moment. It really does put things into context. So yeah, I mean, I'm enjoying this London trip so far. There's a lot more to come. So we will be back next week to cover more Real Housewives of Orange County, and we'll see you guys then.
All right. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye.